But this week, there was two companies kind of in the game development space that basically kind of got into a contest, we'll say.
Of wills.
Right. Basically, kind of like Unity, who creates has a very popular engine that a lot of the game developers, particularly indie developers, use. Got into a spat with this company called Improbable, which does manage servers. Which basically, they'll host servers, and they offer a lot of kind of additional benefits with their servers, where they have an SDK that allows you to do a lot of common things, kind of help with networking and whatnot. So, there was several articles kind of written about this, but essentially what happened was Improbable comes out and says, "Well, Unity, shut off all our keys, and it's kind of told us that we can't be a preferred partner for them. That means anybody's working on Unity and using our services are kind of screwed." And that basically kind of sent a whole bunch of developers into a panic, for obvious reasons.
Justifiably.
Right. If you've been developing your game for 3 years and you're planning on using Improbable and Unity together, well, this kind of sounds terrible. And basically the Improbable kind of made it sound like Unity was the bad guy, which of course they're going to do that if there's a spat. Unity kind of shot back and said, "Whoa, wait a second, we just do, and one of the things that Unity did that basically kind of Improbable kind of got a lot of usage out of was that they changed the terms of service, and it looks like it basically was a change in terms of service specifically to exclude Improbable. And so what Improbable did was kind of attack Unity at their base, at the people that they need to support them. The developers, they kind of made developers kind of wonder, well, is Unity going to make it so I can't use this one thing that I'm relying on using. The other and then they made it kind of feel like they made middleware developers kind of worry that is Unity going to get upset at us, change their terms of service, and suddenly exclude us?
Which it's a really scary situation,
right. I mean,
the way that
right.
Improbable is painting the picture.
Right. And it's hard to kind of say that that way it's completely wrong or completely right. They do have a point that someone kind of holding over your head saying, yes, we're going to make it so that you can't we're going to make it so that you can't potentially we can ruin your business. I mean, and because the reality is whenever you rely on someone else and you have a license, it depends on the terms of that license. The licensee, usually the licensor, I want to say, is generally not going to give up, any more rights than they absolutely have to.
Buy our premium service.
Right. Kind of a more recent example of this was Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Where Facebook games, when Facebook games were first a thing on Facebook, it was great. It was kind of like a Wild West territory. Everybody's making games and making money. Because and then at some point Facebook went, yeah, you're using our infrastructure, so you're going to be
you have to
time
pay
for
more.
us to get our It's time for us to get our cut. And that kind of kind of started squeezing out a lot of the smaller companies because suddenly you had larger companies who were going to be able to negotiate better deals, like Zynga,
Mm-hmm.
compared to smaller companies. And so you had essentially it you had people feel like they were Facebook was basically kind of clamping down on this.
But
And
that,
a lot of the people kind of point out like, well, if you rely on another company for things, but but in a way, like you kind of need to rely on other companies, and in some ways, you know, unless you're gonna buy your own network operating center um and build your own servers or whatnot, you're probably gonna be relying on another company to if you want to do anything online.
right, it kind of like what we're doing right now. We are operating off of a Twitch license.
Right, exactly. And so like Twitch, it's very convenient, and we've seen this before because like with YouTube, when YouTube kind of changes their monetization, system, and some people kind of feel like they're not getting a fair shake out of the system anymore.
It
They
would,
kind of suck.
which they did overnight and took out without notice and took out entire genres of channels just overnight. They just stopped making money
Right.
over a minuscule change. I just happen to know a lot about it. With YouTube, they changed their monetization system from being per view to being per minute watched.
Right.
And short video channels like animators stop being able to make money at all because they operated under per views
Right.
for a 2 minute 3 minute video,
Right. And like this is kind of this is a potential danger of like it is a risk that if you're gonna run your own business, you kind of have to kind of just keep in mind that you might get someone who's you might get a company that basically kind of decides to change the terms of the bar, the old Darth Vader, I've changed the terms of the agreement, pray I do not alter them further,
This deal's getting worse all the time.
Right. And so you kind of have to
Kind of like that Robot Chicken bit. I'm not sure if you've seen that one.
yeah,
Sorry. Tangent.
nerd.
Yeah. You brought up Star Wars.
I don't know what
You,
put myself to blame.
you did this
Okay,
to
fair.
yourself. But yeah, that's the scary thing though, is that deals change over time when the environment changes, when the ecosystem changes.
Right. And so the company that's your friend and whatnot now that is really eager to help you out. And so I mean and it's one of those things that like how do you I don't want to give a judgment here say oh Unity's good or Improbable's good. There's always going to be a lot more going on behind the scenes than anybody's savvy about.
Yeah, there's no good or bad in this. It's just
Right.
company versus company.
Right.
Actually, slightly relevant, and I hemmed and hawed about putting this in the podcast today just because of the size of things for today's stream. Bungie and Activision split up. They split on their deal, and Bungie was able to keep Destiny 2.
Yeah, I mean, like, and there's probably something in that in the specific agreement that allowed them to do that, because if Activision could, Activision would have kept Destiny 2. Like, that's what publishers do. They
But
keep the IP because that's what you're making money off.
does that mean Destiny 2 is staying on the Blizzard store? I didn't really look into it in much detail, but I'm curious now.
Yeah. It depends.
We'll have a follow up on that later.
Yeah.
Enter the Tower of the Moon. Anyways, so what I thought was interesting was, and I always say, oh yeah, this was interesting. Oh, I think this is interesting. I edit my videos. I know the weird things that I say constantly.
Mm-hmm. It's better if you draw a whole lot of attention to it.
I know. It's the best thing to do. I'm going to make a compilation out of it.
Anyway.
I'm going to make a compilation out of it. It's going to be great.
What you were saying? What you found interesting?
How Improbable was able to control the narrative.
Right. I mean, if you look at this from a PR point of view, yeah, Improbable came out looking, smelling like a rose here. They absolutely were able to control the message. It felt like Unity was on the back leg continuously. Unity, was purely reacting, whereas Improbable was purely, basically going on the offensive.
Which, from a PR stance, from a PR stance, it was masterful what they were able to do.
Right.
And it was interesting what Unity was saying that I'd have to pull up the articles again, but if I remember correctly, Unity was saying that Improbable had been violating their terms of service before they changed the terms of service, so that Improbable was violating their terms of service.
Well, I mean, yeah, like their point was that there's that chest down here. Yeah, basically what they were saying is that all they did was basically clarify the terms of service. They didn't actually, they weren't trying, basically, what they were saying is that we didn't intend to screw over Improbable in particular. We were just clarifying the terms of service. But I mean, but still, what Improbable was able to do is basically, to do what we call fear, uncertainty, and doubt. They were able to kind of, get everybody really worried about what Unity might do to them.
Right, because Unity's now the monster.
Right, Unity's the one that can could potentially just take away your livelihood.
And I saw a whole bunch of people in the message board saying, "Well, I'm going to Unreal."
Right, exactly, and so that's the other interesting thing here is that basically Unreal kind of jumped in, and we have I think we were going to talk about this a little later, but
right.
little
snippet,
little foreshadowing here, but Unreal has the Unreal Store now. They're looking to kind of get game to do digital distribution of games as a Steam competitor. They've got their engine competitor, with the Unreal Engine 4, and so them kind of stepping in here and kind of supporting Improbable means that they really they kind of they were kind of definitely benefiting from this.
Right. Which,
And so
you look at that and go,
right. And so I think the so yeah, and so basically kind of the what happened was that Improbable and Unity kind of started pointing fingers at each other. And like you said, Improbable was able to control the message, basically, kind of, it was masterful. I mean, it was exactly how one company's PR should work, on a practical level. It may not be something that we think of as all that great. Oops, I got a boss.
oh, I'm coming.
We may not exactly appreciate PR and companies fighting. Usually kind of when they get into big pissing contests, can sometimes be really kind of terrible for people. But as I said, but looking at it from a purely PR standpoint, this is how this should be kind of a textbook example of how one company did something right.
I mean, yeah, it should be in like business PR 101 textbooks in the future. Look at how, this company just sunk Unity, just threw Unity under the bus.
Right.
And Unity, there's nothing Unity could do to dig themselves out of that hole.
I mean, I think the best thing that the best thing that Unity could have possibly done would have been to to kind of rely on their the community had already built up.
Right.
I mean, the problem you run into is that sometimes companies will start to kind of take things for granted, basically.
Mm-hmm. I think from my simple point of view, if they had relented and just been like, whoops, sorry, that wasn't, oops, we didn't mean to post that, or, oops, we typoed.
Right. Well, I mean, assuming that there's no, again, I don't want to make value judgments. I don't want to say, Unity did right or did wrong or
right.
not. I think, I think assuming they had a legitimate business reason for doing what they did, relenting might have put them in a worse position.
True. Yeah, for all we know, there could have been other
Right. I mean,
other things happening that they can't or won't talk about.
Right. And so I think that and we can speculate a little bit later about who did what to who now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that one of the it's really hard to you can play armchair quarterback, but it's really hard to say for certainty about this person's right, this person's wrong.
You know what this whole thing was missing now? A Twitter war. Like,
I mean, it was a little old school in that way, or that was done by blog posts.
True.
I mean, and so like I mean, basically, like the everything was done by dueling blog posts. My fame has increased. I'm now liked. People like me.
No, they don't.
They do in this video game, okay?
Okay, we'll let you believe that. It's fine.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I feel bad now.
You're literally terrible.
I am. I don't know shame, but I know guilt.
First combination.
Right? Sometimes I feel guilty about feeling guilty. Okay.
Were you raised Catholic or something?
No, that's the worst part. I don't have a reason for feeling that way. If I was raised Catholic, at least it makes sense. And I can justify it to myself. Ugh.
So there's a dungeon over here we haven't done yet.
Oh, okay.
We don't have a quest that goes to the Shadow Crevasse.
Did I just go in there?
I don't think you're near me.
Okay, so
I think there's another dungeon over there. There's Trox Rift.
do you wanna do you have any concluding thoughts?
I think the big thing to kind of keep in mind is that kind of twofold is like if you're going to go into business as an indie developer and you're going to have to rely on other companies. Like just keep in mind that there's going to be there's potentially going to be issues like this. Where someone's going to where someone your carefully laid plans your business is going to be put under threat because someone decides, oh, we want to
change some wording in the terms of service,
or we're going to get into an argument with this other company. And so, or just a company decides that, hey, we want to cut the pie. Like I said, that's what happened with Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Where they, get games on Facebook where it became such a huge thing. They're like, we kind of want to cut out this. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, some analysis. Trying, like I said, trying to kind of keep, it might sound like we're kind of doing value judgments, but in reality, that we can't say things for certain. Oh, this company is good and this company is evil,
or else we'll get sued.
Well,
well, honestly, I don't know anything about either company on a personal level, so all I know is what I've been reading out of these blog posts, and they are somewhat hilarious at how contradictory they are to each other.
Right. Well, I mean, this is kind of this is what happens with when the companies fight. Like, obviously they have kind of different perspective, and they're going to spin things in the best possible way for their own company.
Mm-hmm.
Even if one company was like literally bullying the other company,
like Steam. I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean, but even if one company is literally bullying, have the one company is not going to kind of say, "Oh, sure, we're terrible."